G'day ladies and gents, welcome to War Thunder with Mags, and welcome to my first impressions of the American F86F-2 Saber. Yes, this is the final Sabre in the American line and currently the pinnacle of American jet technology available in-game, and this is my first ever battle in it. Now I'm playing on a European server, so you'll notice my ping is a little bit higher than normal. I'm playing on about 350. It didn't seem to interfere with me in this match at all. And overall, my impressions of this aircraft are good, but we'll watch through the battle and you'll see why. Now, when doing a first impressions on something like the F2, it's important, especially considering there are 3 Sabres in the American line, noting the differences between them. The A5, the first variant, is actually lower performance than the 2 F series. It is not as fast. It's slightly more manoeuvrable, but by such a small margin that you'll never notice the difference. It doesn't seem to hold its energy as well, and its guns aren't quite as good in the 50 caliber department. The F-25 and the F2, which I'm flying now, they're identical aircraft. The only noticeable difference between the two planes is the guns, and it is important to take note of that difference. Now, the F2 Sabre has 4 20mm cannons, 4 high velocity 20mm. The damage these things can put out is absolutely biblical, but it does come at a cost. They only carry 460 rounds of ammunition, or if you were to take it into a test flight and do a burst fire on it, equivalent of 4 to 5 seconds worth of ammunition. Once you've expended that ammunition, you're dry, you're going home. That's all you've got. It's not a lot. A simple misclick, hold the trigger for slightly too long, and you can empty the gun so fast. One other thing, looking at the cockpit here, that I noticed about the Sabres in general, is the resolution on the textures inside the cockpit seems to be a lot higher than other aircraft that I've flown. Everything is clearer. Even on the lowest graphical settings, everything looks so much sharper in the cockpit. So obviously, as part of the reward for finally making it to the top tier of aircraft, you get a much nicer looking cockpit. Now, we've just encountered our first MiG-15, but I'll come to that in a moment. Now, the F-25 has 6 50 caliber machine guns. Besides that, the plane is exactly the same. Now, 10 seconds is the approximate time stock for those guns to jam, the 650 calibers to jam. It starts with 2,550 rounds of ammunition, and I had 1,641 left after the guns jam. So estimate around 20 seconds. 10 seconds to fire till jam, and there's approximately 10 seconds left over. So 20 seconds worth of ammunition over 4 to 5 in a solid burst. It's definitely something worth considering when both planes perform the same. Now, the first MiG's been encountered. The pilot is Clan Squadron, the wannabe Swede. Now, I had heard that name somewhere before, but I couldn't recall where. Now, the name rung bells of a MiG-15 pilot, so I immediately got the impression this MiG-15 is probably fully upgraded. It's crossed the map and gotten near to our runway in the time it's taken me to climb to 15,000 feet, and it has bet all the other MiG-15s on their team to this location. So I'm facing a fully upgraded pilot in a stock F2. Going head-to-head, not such a wise idea, so I decided to go heavily evasive, and this showed me some very interesting things with the F2. Diving in underneath, trying to get my airspeed up and to make his angle of attack too steep to be able to dive in on me. Looks like I'm over on the safe side, so go back into a climb. He is going to maneuver in, sharp roll and turn, full elevation in the turn, and he just can't get the guns around. The shots come close, but I never felt threatened by those first rounds. They felt more like shots fired in desperation than to get a kill. He pulls up ahead, so I go for my teammates, try and give me some cover to try and neutralise the altitude gap here a bit. I'm sure a lot of experienced Sabre pilots are going to look at this video and they're going to write a list of things that I've done wrong. I have no doubt I can write a list of things that I've done wrong in this battle as well. But it still impressed me how well the Sabre was able to go against the MiG. First impressions are very good on this aircraft. This was the first battle where I ever felt the aircraft didn't let me down. I let the aircraft down. Now, second MiG's been encountered. I don't recognise the pilot name. I'm not feeling threatened by him at the moment. It's more of a case of there being two MiGs in the area. I'm still far more concerned about the Swede. So I'm still monitoring both aircraft. Looks like the second MiG-15 is going to take a crack at me. So I'm getting ready to go evasive. I'm just watching what the Swede's doing to make sure he doesn't take advantage of me suddenly going out. I do have two F9Fs in the area and a A5 Saber, which is moving on the second MiG now. So again, just roll over, pull underneath, keep the turn. MiG-15's gone under. Roll over to try and get the guns, but he's gone into a climb. So I'll maintain level. I'm safe for the moment. Try and do a burst climb onto him, but he's leveled out and getting his airspeed up, so I'm not going to catch him. Where's the Swede? The Swede's coming in behind. One of the F9Fs engages, so he breaks off, which is good. Roll over to try and engage, but I've actually lost him. I'm not sure where he went here. He pulled underneath and then went vertical. I wasn't able to track him. It's one thing I've got to watch. Jet battles happen so quickly, it is very easy to lose track of potential targets. I almost never lose aircraft in prop battles. It does happen in jets though. When you start playing at velocities of nearly 1,000 kilometers an hour, yeah. So the second MiG makes a pass at our F9F. Both miss, he moves on. The Swede seems to be trying to put some distance to get ready for his next pass. Now you'll notice my airspeed almost never busts 400 in this battle. This is... I'm not sure if it how much it improves with upgrades on this aircraft, but being evasive, I just could not get the speed up to match these MiGs, even when I leveled out level. Now it was about here that I was starting to decide I needed to do something about one of these MiGs. It was becoming clear that they were both starting to get ready to focus me. Decide to get rid of this one first. One burst and a dodge right, and that's a MiG-15 down. First battle, first MiG-15 kill. Unfortunately, that was about a good half of my ammunition. So I only have enough left to deal with the Swede. Now this battle was interesting on the matchmaker's point because this was a 6-on-4 battle against the Russians. And these were the only two fighters that I saw the entire match. This battle wasn't won by the pilots with the most skill, it was won by the pilots with the least amount of idiots. That was the only player-to-player air kill for the American side in this battle. I got it. Nobody else shot down a player aircraft. They cleaned up all the AI. The Swede does kill me. The other MiG-15 and the MiG-9 on the Russian team crash without any of us ever actually seeing them in combat. We have no idea why they crashed. Swede makes another pass, go evasive. Now, I possibly could have got a kill shot here. I just could not get the nose up fast enough. The plane just wobbled when it shouldn't have. I imagine it's more of an upgrade issue than an aircraft issue. And with his dive speed, he just pulls out. I was also a little nervous about pulling the trigger at this point in time. I'm well aware at one tap of the trigger and I won't have enough ammunition left to kill him, so I need to get him in a perfect spot. Now, despite dying in this battle, our team did win because of the Russians crashing out. And I had a ball in this match simply because this was the best dogfight I've ever had in a jet battle. So the Swede's pulling out to range. You can see they've already taken out our other F2 Saber. The rest of the team seems uninterested in trying to engage the MiG-15. They never seem to pull in close. I was the only one constantly pursuing and trying to position myself to fight. I now have a little bit of altitude on the MiG-15, but I'm well aware that that means nothing. If he decides to go vertical right now, he'll gain 5,000 feet on me before I can do anything about it. And see, his distance is starting to slow down, so he's getting ready to make a turn. I'm just asking the rest of my team at the moment in chat, where are the other two aircraft? We haven't seen the other two enemy players. I was getting a little nervous about this point in time of another MiG-15 starting to dive on me from 30,000 feet that I can't see. However, in a few moments you'll see in the bottom right hand side of the screen the indicator for the MiG-9 crashing, and soon after that the MiG-15 crashes as well. So Swede's making a pass in, he's going to dive underneath. Drop into a rollover, passed by our F9 rather close. Probably being a little too aggressive on the turns here, I was losing a little bit too much speed. I got the feeling at this time that I was being assessed. 2 passes have been made on me and both times I dodged right out of the way with no problems. So just continue following. Just watching the rest of my team, they're all just sort of hanging back and loitering around. It's nice to have them in the area, it tends to make the other players, well, I think it made the Swede a little nervous to be honest, but they didn't do a whole lot for the battle. So he's gone vertical, I know he's getting ready for a dive. We're just getting ready to engage in a massive turn fight, and this was a lot of fun. He's crossing back over, and I realise he's not going to dive back in, he's interested in trying to take out some of the other aircraft. So I take it vertical to try and get a little bit more altitude on him and roll over. He must have spotted me dropping into a low energy state because he turns around here and gets ready to head back in this direction. I was sort of hoping he wouldn't see that, but he's closing in fast, so I put the nose down and again try and increase the angle of attack enough that he can't get the guns back on me. He's looking at one of our F9Fs now. Again, possibly could have got a kill shot there. Inexperience showing. So break out and level in the opposite direction. The aircraft does have a tendency to wobble, I've noticed, under mouse control. You really need to take control using bound keys in order to perform your turns. Steep dive in. Brakes off right, I just can't get the nose around fast enough. I am a little nervous on the wind breaking point on this aircraft too, I'm not entirely sure. I've been told it's 13 Gs. I'm being very gentle about making sure it doesn't get there. It's time to test the turn of the Sabre against the turn of the MiG. Now this was a battle that was fought almost exclusively in blackout. Pop out of air brakes, he's heading in the wrong direction. I just can't rotate the aircraft fast enough. 11G, I'm hitting the edge of my threshold. And you can see the Sabre's ability to outturn the MiG. Despite having a run on, I was dragging the nose in. I just wasn't going to be able to turn inside of him fast enough, so broke away. Change angle of attack, come back at him again, make him try and track me the same as I'm trying to do him. He's going to get the angle over here, so rapidly change direction. Shots fired. MiG misses. He's on my tail. Air brakes. Pull vertical, fold the air brakes in, roll over, try and make him overshoot. This was another moment where I could potentially have gotten a kill shot. just couldn't get it around fast enough. That was the first time I'd seen any of the other fighters on our team attempt to jump in, and part of me's annoyed they didn't try and jump on the MiG sooner. Part of me's glad that they didn't. A clean one-on-one dogfight is a perfect way of measuring the performance of an aircraft, especially against the aircraft it's meant to fight against. And it's really, really hard to come across one outside of controlled environments. So, why jumping on may have made me able to get the kill despite my inexperience, it was nice that they didn't. Now, Swede's obviously had enough of the turn fight. He's trying to break away. He's realised I'm not going to give him an edge to be able to get a kill. So he moves in after one of our F9Fs. I take the altitude and push it into a dive. Now, from what I've been reading, the Sabre is faster than the MiG-15 in a dive. However, in a stock state versus a fully upgraded aircraft, it doesn't look like it is. I'm going to have to get the upgrades on this thing. Again, we're just turning. At this point, we felt like we were still testing one another to see what we were both capable of. Or to find out who makes the first mistake first. Unfortunately, that turned out to be me. Starting to get the guns around, so change angle. That one was a little close. Air brakes again, force him to overshoot. F9F gets involved. Now, as I understand it, the Sabre's performance at lower altitudes is higher than that from the MiG-15, so I'm actually in the best spot to be fighting this MiG at the moment. I think it was just the fact that this thing is completely stock that was causing me these issues. And here's where I make my fatal mistake. We're too close, and I decide to try and disengage from the fight to get a bit of airspeed up, and it gives him a window. However, the battle can almost be considered a draw. I shoot him through a message here in a second, congratulating him and thanking him for the duel. It was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, he ended up dying a few seconds later by crash, and that was because while he did manage to kill me, that last burst he threw at the F9F right after I died was his last round of ammunition, and he was also under a minute's worth of fuel remaining. So if I had not broken away at that particular moment, if I had stayed in the turn and continued the fight, I would have had him simply on him, running him out of resources to continue the battle. So, first impressions of the Sabre. As I've said over the course of this video, I'm pretty sure that MiG-15 was fully upgraded, or very near to fully upgraded. This Sabre is dead stock, yet despite that, this is the first time I've ever been in a jet battle in a direct engagement against a MiG-15 and felt like the aircraft wasn't letting me down. This was very much my lack of experience and skill in the aircraft that caused my death. The aircraft was not at fault. Fully upgraded, this thing is going to be a beast. its manoeuvrability is more than enough to make yourself nearly impossible for a MiG-15 to be able to hit. As you saw, I was able to hold off a more experienced pilot in an upgraded aircraft for almost 15 minutes without dying. So for those of you grinding the American line to unlock the F86, it's very much going to be worth it, at least in my humble opinion. Till next time, ladies and gents, fly smart, fly safe, and I'll catch you in the skies.